question is, after 2 years, does Deadpool still hold up? And I think the answer is a definitive fuck yeah. Now, Deadpool is a film that, admittedly, I'm definitely a little bit biased because I am a diehard Deadpool fan and have been for years. I read tons of comics. I was a super, super big fan of the character. One of the first action figures I ever owned was an action figure of Deadpool. And I had been clamoring and banging on the table for a Deadpool film for years. Long before the movie even came out, I was saying this film is going to be huge. Because I knew if it was done right, it was going to be a huge hit because the fan base was way bigger than anybody expected, and I knew that this character would be able to hit the mainstream really well, and that's exactly what the film did. It was an enormous hit. I saw it twice in the theater. I even watched it again when it came out on streaming, and then a good friend of mine sent me this as a gift, and I watched it, Deadpool, again to see if it held up, because I had seen it a couple times, 3 times over the past couple years, but it had been a while since I saw it again. And the sequel is coming out, so I wanted to revisit the first film. And it was like, I mean, I watched the first movie and I was just instantly brought back and reminded of the reasons why I love this movie. This film is riotously entertaining. It's got a lot of heart to it. It's funny. It's clever. It's really unique when it comes to a lot of Marvel films. I mean, the only other film I could kind of think of that has a tone that's close to Deadpool's is Kick-Ass or Super. And it's one of those movies that it's one of those rare lightning in a bottle type of films. And it's one of those films where you could tell that everyone involved with it was extremely passionate about the project. And not only about the film, but about the character. The character of Wade Wilson. The character of Deadpool. And Ryan Reynolds was born to play Wade Wilson. He was born to be the Merc with a mouth. And it shows. Like, he just is diving into this role with reckless abandon and is just totally having a blast with it. He's having the time of his life, and as a result, as an audience member, you just have so much fun watching the movie. This is one of the most entertaining Marvel films out there. I honestly, I would say this is easily in my top 5. One of my favorite Marvel films ever. And when it comes to comedy action movies, it's right up there for me too. Yeah, there are some other comedy action films. There's a lot of them actually that have better action sequences. But this still had some competent, solid action, which is more than I could say for a lot of other action comedies that have come out recently. There have been a lot of action comedies that have had great comedy, but action. And I thought, yeah, the action could be improved upon in this film, but I know they had a lower budget to work with, and I still thought there were enough beats here and there with the film that the action was good. I mean, the fight scenes, they were well choreographed and well shot. There wasn't a lot of shaky cam editing or quick cut stuff. The freeway chase was really inventive and crazy. The battle between Wade and Ajax in the burning building was well done, and the final climax was fun, and the sword play and all of that was really well put together. And the gunplay could have used a little more of that, but I think that's part of why you don't have as much gunplay is because of the lower budget. But really, I don't really have that many issues with Deadpool, even after seeing it for the 4th time. It's one of those films that it's still just as entertaining and fun to watch as it was the first time around. The gags that really got me and really made me laugh still make me laugh. The fact that I know pretty much all the story beats doesn't really make the film any less funny or any less entertaining to me. And yeah, and it's also as an origin story. It's one of those origin stories that is never boring because of the fact that it kind of has a unique, I don't know if unique's the right word, but it definitely is unique in comparison to a lot of the other origin stories, especially to origin stories within the MCU. Because a lot of origin stories within the MCU are this kind of, with this kind of whole thing with, they seem to be really formulaic. But with this one, it was different because you had the whole flashback aspects of it, but the way that they handled it was different because it wasn't your typical sort of origin story where they're going beat after beat after beat, and they did a flashback approach, which I thought was unique. And then they even did some clever things like fast forwarding the film to get back to the point where everything is all caught up, and also it's just one of those origin stories that you definitely do enjoy because of the love story aspect, which is one of the stronger aspects of the film. Ryan Reynolds and I believe it's I think her name is Monica. Ryan Reynolds and Marina Baccarin, and those two are just Wade and Vanessa are made for each other. They have just absolutely wonderful chemistry, and even though it's a simple love story within a pretty straightforward origin story, it's still pretty compelling because you really learn to like and love these characters, and you want this couple to make it out. You want them to make it work. And then by the end of the film, when she learns to love him despite his face that looks like a cross between a Shar-Pei and Ryan Reynolds, it really is a very sweet, heartfelt ending. It's the film has a very big heart inside of it. It regardless of all of the crazy, wacky, zany shit and the R-rated jokes and all of that and the violence, it has a big, dumb, goofy heart, and that's a big reason why I really love Deadpool, and I will always enjoy this film. Like, this is a film I could easily see myself watching over and over again, and never getting tired of it. And the Blu-ray, it's got some. It actually is a damn good Blu-ray too. It's one of those Blu-rays that actually they do put more of an effort into the features. There's an hour and 20 minutes making of that talks about all the aspects of the making of the film, which was really interesting and very in depth. The deleted scenes were interesting. There was one that I could see why they cut out of the film. It showed a more darker side of Wade that you've seen in the comics, which is part of what makes Wade a very interesting and compelling character, because he's flawed. He's not perfect. And but I can see why they cut it out, because it doesn't fit with the rest of the tone of the film. The gag reel, which is hilarious. There's some really nice, funny bloopers. And some of the alternate sequences are good, too, like some of the alternate takes for some of the other jokes in the film. And the fun sack, which I'm glad they put all the advertising stuff, the trailers and the ads that Fox and Ryan and company put together to market the film, which that's another reason why the film was as big as it was. A brilliant marketing campaign. One of the most insanely original and irreverent and completely tongue-in-cheek ad campaigns I've seen in years, and it was just an absolute tour de force of marketing. And I'm glad that they included those on the Blu-ray as a special feature. That was really cool. I haven't listened to the audio commentary tracks because I'm kind of on the audio commentaries, but maybe someday down the road, because I'm a huge, enormous fan of this film. But I mean, even stuff like simple things like the songs that were used for the soundtrack really separate this films from some other movies. Because, I mean, you use Air Supply and the opening credits with Angel of the Morning by Juice Newton. And it's just this really nice eclectic mix of different types of music. And you even have like the whole hip hop Deadpool theme song. Where of course it's like "sexy motherfucker," which I love that one. That's such a great song. It's a cover version made for the film of a song that was used in the Deadpool video game, if I remember correctly. Which, man, I really do want to play that someday because I mean I love this character, and yeah, I mean the only things that I would say that don't hold up that well when it comes to this movie are the same problems I had with it when I first saw it or watched it again after I saw it. The action could use some work, could have used some more gunplay, could have used a little bit more. I understand it's a lower budgeted film, so they weren't able to do as much. But also, Tim Miller wasn't really that experienced with doing action. He was a mocap guy, and he did a good job, but you could tell that this wasn't really his forte. So, I feel that Deadpool 2 could definitely improve upon that with one of the directors from John Wick doing the film. And we all know John Wick has much better action sequences than anything in Deadpool. As much as I love Deadpool, John Wick definitely kicks its ass in that department. And I also felt like some of the jokes didn't quite land, but most of them were pretty funny. I love the IKEA stuff. I thought that was just out there and just hilarious. A lot of Tim Miller's lines kind of didn't work for me. I thought some of them were a bit too abstract, and also I felt like some of the insults he gave to Wade when he showed his face, the ones that they didn't use were better. Like, your face looks like the inside of other people's assholes. I thought that was a better line, and they went with one that just kind of went on a little bit too long and just kind of felt like random improv, which kind of, is a hit and miss with me. I'm usually not a fan of dick and fart jokes, but it works because Ryan Reynolds is just so damn endearing as Deadpool. But one of my favorite, like I said, a lot of my favorite gags are still hilarious. The Zamboni scene just gets me every time, and I know it's coming, but it still gets me. Tell me where your fucking boss is, or you're gonna be dead, or, or something like that. Tell me where your fucking boss is, or you're gonna be dead in 5 minutes. So it's just, you're gonna fucking die in 5 minutes. So I love that, and the whole countless pop culture references, which is absolutely 100% a big part of Deadpool's humor. So it was just such a wonderful thing to see in the theater and later viewings, and it still is such a wonderful thing to see this character on the screen and done justice. This gang of idiots, they got it. They really did. They got Deadpool. They understand what makes him tick. They understand his sense of humor. They get everything about him and what makes him so appealing. And it's just so refreshing and wonderful to see a film, especially by Fox, that doesn't fuck over the character. It doesn't. It actually does get it. It actually does respect the source material and the spirit of the character, and it's just a dream come true. And I'm really eagerly anticipating the sequel. I'm gearing up to go see it. X is gonna give it to you again, and I really. Deadpool 2 is a sequel I've been waiting for ever since the after credits sequence in Deadpool, and I can easily say it's my most anticipated film of 2018. So yeah, my expectations are pretty high. We'll see how the film does when it comes to living up to them or not, but I'm hopeful. I am hopeful, despite some of the initial controversies with some of the screenings and stuff like that, and so on and so forth. But yeah, like this video, like I said earlier in this video, Deadpool holds up. I definitely do feel it does hold up. If you were kind of iffy on it, I would recommend watching it again. And also, if you love the film, watch it again. I mean, it's if you love the movie, just you've probably already watched it multiple times, and you've probably already watched it before you went and saw Deadpool 2. Or you saw it in the theater when with the double feature with Deadpool and Deadpool 2. But I didn't want to do that because I wanted to watch the Blu-ray and watch the features and stuff because, and also I wanted to talk about the Blu-ray as well. That's another reason why I did this video, because a good friend of mine, Jonathan, sent me this, so I wanted to give my thoughts on the Blu-ray and give him a special shout out for really, making my day, when he sent me this, along with a bunch of other stuff. But I'd had this on my wish list for a long time, and I just didn't quite have the cash or didn't really pull the trigger. And thanks to him, I'm able to have Deadpool in my collection. I was able to watch it again and enjoy it again. It's such a deliriously fun movie, and it's one of those films that I had just been hoping for and dreaming of for years, and it's just such a amazing, fantastic, spectacular sight to see again and again and again. But anyway, thank you for watching, and there were other things I probably could say about it, but I didn't want to make this a really long video. But anyway, I thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more Deadpool, because you bet your sweet ass I will be posting a review of Deadpool 2 pretty soon. Whether or not, well, I mean, I have high expectations for it. Like I said, if the film isn't at least on par with the first, I'm going to be disappointed. I'm not expecting it to be better, but it needs to be. I really do feel it should be at least on par because of the people that are involved. And if it's average or below average, I'm gonna be very disappointed. I really am, and I'm not gonna be afraid to say that. But I don't think it will be. I really don't. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and it's gonna have some flaws, but like every sequel. But I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be entertaining, and I can't wait. So anyway, as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you later. See ya.